Good day everyone, welcome to today's video. Today is the first battle in the T-34 heavy tank. Now, unfortunately, me being a muppet, I forgot to record this live. But I've recently unlocked the T-34 and yeah, this thing is absolutely amazing. Now, I'm a big fan of my heavy tanks, and if you can hear the windows, I do apologize. But I'm a big fan of my heavy tanks. I've always loved lots of armor, great guns, but I'll gladly trade mobility for it. Now, the T-34 was I think it was the second development in American heavy tanks that they tried to design during the war. And the T-29 features the 105mm gun. The T-30, which you will see James Prawn in, because he's just bought it, you will see him with that 155mm gun. I do apologize about that. Everyone and their mothers is messaging me today. And then you have the T-34, which is sat in the middle in the tech tree, which has a 120mm gun. Now, don't get me wrong, this gun is very, very powerful. However, sometimes the AP characteristics can let you down, especially when you deal with Panthers, because there's one Panther in this battle, and he's just subscribed to the channel, thanks to James Prawn. And let's just say I had to fire a couple of shots at him to deal with him. Now, the reload on this thing isn't the worst, but for a 120, it's not great, because I believe this is two-part ammunition. We'll have a look in the X-ray. But this gun, when it penetrates, and if it hits a Panther bang on correctly, it will go straight through the front of a Panther, except for the Panther 2. And, well, from what I've been able to find, it's not been able to be penned by the Panther 2. I haven't fully tested it yet. I'll ask James Prawn. But, well, to be a test bed, shall we say. But this gun can punch through any lower tiered Panther you can see. It can punch through a Tiger, no problem at all. And it can deal with much more sufficient threats, shall we say. Now I'm going to go briefly over the armor, and then I'm going to go into the replay, because the mobility on this thing isn't that great. With a stock weight of 65.8 tons and of engine power of 716, you're barely getting, well, not a lot of horsepower per ton is all I'll say. Probably about 10 to 11 horsepower per turn, or per ton. And this thing really, really shows its low weight. But the thing is about the T-34, it's armor. Now, for those of you who already know the T-29 and other series of tanks like that, of their armor plating, you can skip this part. But otherwise, I'm going to go briefly over the armor, and we're going to see what this tank's all about. So, the American heavies have always been known for having decent frontal armor, but having amazing turret armor. The T-34 takes that into consideration very well, with the front slope being 102, slope back at 55. This has stopped Panther rounds. However, you do have the weakness, which is the machine gun port. Your lower glacis is even weaker. However, it can bounce shots if they hit the wrong spots, but if they hit around about here, they will just go straight through. And behind that is your ammunition. And yes, it is two-part ammunition. I thought it was, to be honest. But it's the front of the turret that interested me the most. Now, short 88s carried by Tiger 1s will not penetrate unless they hit here. That's your weak spot. Panthers will not penetrate this front. Panther 2s and Tiger 2s, however, will. Not certain of the distance, but I'm guessing they can do it over a kilometer. However, you can do the same to them. They will go through your front in most situations, but I recommend angling about here. Whilst this is a present weak spot for the lower glacis, if you are hull down, the tank is perfectly sufficient. Now, everyone knows whenever I drive an American tank or something with a roof-mounted 50 cal, I like to go full American. And don't worry, the Panther player that you will see, who has also subscribed to the channel, if I did not say beforehand, he meets my full American standpoint, and he gets absolutely butchered. The 350 caliber machine guns mounted on this tank is just perfect for being full American. It will shred light vehicles. It will shred anything that you put in front of it. Obviously, other than tanks. Planes, no sweat. Lightly armored SPAA, no sweat. And it saves you a shell after all. But anyway, I've blabbered on a bit too much. Let's get into the replay because it was quite a big battle. Now, I'd just like to point out that obviously since the tank is stuck, I can just hear a truck going by, so if you can hear that, I do apologize. But obviously, with it being stuck, it does not have access to parts or FPE. Now, obviously, there are some parts that I'm going to skip in this battle. And the player who has recently subscribed to the channel, thanks to Jane Prawn, is Hartweikkruppstahl. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now, they make a reference to some film. I'm not certain. I can't remember the name of the film, but obviously I'll turn on the chat. Jane Prawn spawns in with his brand new T-30. We was discussing the differences between our tanks, and there is pretty much none, other than the back plate on my tank, which is an extra 102, I believe. But it's an extra 102 millimeters on top of the 150. I think it's 150 or it's 102, one of the two. But this tank, you can see the mobility. It is quite slow when stuck, and I'm guessing it's not going to get much better the more I upgrade it. Your gun depression is standard American at 10 degrees. Elevation's pretty good. And obviously, you got a pintle mount 50. That will come in handy later. At this point, we was actually considering pushing out and moving out the spawn area and taking cover in a hold down position. I said to Jane Prawn this would be the best option since we are in a down tier, which I haven't had a down tier in 6.7 for a long time. Just ask Richie D about that. Now I'm going to leave the markers on because it's easier for you guys to see the targets. And there is Hartwick. Oh, I'm going to try and say that correctly. Hartweikkruppstahl. I think that's how you say it. I'm not German, so I wouldn't know. I'm guessing he is German. Oh, I think it's a he. Don't know. I'm just guessing a he. I'll probably get some comment like, "Oh, did you assume my gender or something like that?" as a bit of a joke, but even so. So I start pushing up here, and obviously I am hold down, and here's a Panther A. I tell Jane Prawn to stop and don't ram me as I'm trying to shoot. Range the gun perfectly. However, the driver's face on that Panther stops the shell. Hartwick shoots Jane Prawn, doesn't do any damage. But at this point, I'm actually reloading, but I've almost loaded. Next shot, completely smacks the cannon breech, the turret drive, and the loader right in the face. So now that Panther's only down to 2 crew. We'll be seeing more of him later. I only brought 15 shells in the tank because I thought, well, it's got a long reload. I'm probably not going to need a lot of ammunition. And I thought 15 shells was more than enough. I think it might take 20. And any second now, Hartweikkruppstahl is going to he's going to start typing in chat about my T-30, or my T-34. I love it how he can identify a tank that well. Personally, if I saw these two at distance, I couldn't tell which one's which. I'd shoot the first one that sticks its nose out. But that is just me. So now I'm going to skip ahead to the battle a little bit. Jane Prawn said he was going to move into the town. And there is there's the first comment from him. Have mercy with me, T-34. And I do a very anime-styled no. And for some strange reason, there was a Panzer IV-H in this battle, which I didn't see there. But here's some poor Panther who learns the ways of, well, don't sit in front of a T-34. First kill. Now the reload's long, and I was worried. At this moment, I actually noticed the Panzer IV. He actually blows up the T-44 next to me. However, I angle my armor just right. He panics, And well, that's the last mistake you're going to be making, buddy. Second kill. Now there's a T-34 there. I don't know why you would drive with your back turned to the enemy, but that's his choice. James Broad starts shooting at a Panther, which he saw. I decided at this point the best option is to back up. The reverse speed on this thing is useful. It's not the world's best reverse I've ever used. But I will tell you this much. This reverse is going to come in handy. Let's just say I'm thankful for the dance here. Otherwise I would not have gotten away with what I did. And in a moment, that Super Pershing is going to get ammo racked. Now I was worried about Hartwick taking a shot at my turret then, that's why I quickly backed up. Now I was going to go for a whole shot, but the shot diverges due to the lack of, well, adjustment of fire. I decided to give him a bit of full American treatment. And he decides to back up wisely because I just nailed his machine gun, his turret drive, and his breach once again. Don't worry, he's gonna mention my aim. Sorry mate, the 120 is a bit inaccurate sometimes. I was going for your frontal plate. And there goes his Super Pershing. He's just been nailed by a 75-46 M43, a very useful tank destroyer. I always want to die on cancer whenever I encounter American heavy tanks. Now, I am completely stuck, mate. This is my first battle. But this was a fun battle. And this tank does have a weak spot, or quite a few weak spots, buddy. Optics, MG port, lower glacis. And if you're lucky enough, Commander's Cupola. There's a couple of weak spots for you, buddy. I decided to try and go full American on this T-35, as you would imagine. Now, unfortunately, only the Pintle Mount 50 can actually reach him. And now he says, I have to repair again. But I'm sorry, mate. Solid AP, it can only do so much. If I was in a T-29, you'd be dead. Well, in fact, you'd have been dead in the first shot, pal. But hey. Only so much I can do. But now it's going to go a bit quiet, since Hartweikkruppstahl is obviously repairing what's left of his Panther. He said, yeah, next time better kill me. Don't worry mate, got that arranged. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit more now because, well, we can. I have the power. He says he can see my 50 cal. Now I didn't actually know he was there. I thought he was going to do the same mistake. Well, I thought he was going to pull out and try and hit me in the hull, like the lower glacis, but he didn't want to take the risk clearly because my reactions are very good. Now, the one thing I'm going to have to say is a bit of a dick move, Hartwick, is that you came back for a revenge kill just for me. Now, obviously you're new to the channel, so I'm going to introduce you what I hate in War Thunder. One of them is revenge killings. I despise it. It's scumbaggy. If you've been outplayed, don't come back in a plane and bomb someone. And the other one is airfield campers. Obviously, by the time this video goes out, you will obviously have seen it. But you'd have obviously seen the rant video that I did on airfield camping. I despise it. Now I take a smack here, I wasn't even sure what it was. Turns out it was a 75-46 up in the rocks. And he was taking pot shots at me. What I only notice about now is that there's actually a Panther on my left thanks to that P-47. And he is about to have a very bad day. I turn the gun, smack him right in the side. If that was a T-29's round APCBC, he'd be dead, but I hope. And now I sit here, I get hull down, and I anxiously wait for the reload. And I just see the fact that he's in a Panther D, and he is slowly traversing that turret thinking he's about to get me. Right as I pull the trigger, some bellend in an M18 Hellcat nicks my kill. And guess what? He dies straight afterwards, ladies and gentlemen. That 7546 is still trying his luck. And let's just say, on Discord with Jane Prawn, I was a bit pissed off. Because I just wasted a shell. I could have had a flipping another kill. At this point, I start driving down the road, and oh look, it's Hartweikkruppstahl. Now I have no idea how that shot ricocheted, but I'm guessing it hit a angled part of his Panther's turret. That has happened to me before in the 76 Jumbo, fair enough. But that was a puny hit, buddy. This isn't puny. Goodbye. Straight through the thickest part of his Panther. Job done. Third kill. And because I realised it was him, I just put an AXD. Because he then puts carried by P47. No idea. I'd probably check down here. I was checking down here anyway. I didn't even know that you'd been marked, to be honest. And here he comes in his JU-87. I was thinking about going full American against that 190. I start traversing the turret. And in a second, Hartwick is going to let me know that he's coming for the revenge kill. Like I say, mate, don't do it. It's just, I don't like when people do this, because at the end of the day, it's my first battle in this tank, and here we go. Sorry, Joseph, but it has to be done. I look up and I see a Stuka, and I just thought it was him. It's the only way, it's got to be him. So I start backing up, and I'm like, right, you're getting the full American treatment then, buddy. And the 50 cows absolutely butcher him. And there's actually a tiger right behind me, which I only just noticed now. He shoots me in the back of the turret, does absolutely nothing. After getting my full American kill and my first air kill, which is only going to be my only air kill, it is at this point where Jane Prawn starts announcing my channel. Now, if you want to do that, feel free. I don't mind. You can perfectly advertise my channel. And here in a moment, Hartwick is going to make the reference that I didn't understand. I reckon I'm a bit too young for it, mate. I'm only 18. I'm going to have to Google. He goes for the command attach here, wide choice, but it didn't work. I'm going to have to Google Man in the High Castle. Now, I have heard that from somewhere, but I think I'm a bit too young for that, mate. You're probably a bit older than me, because I have never heard of the term, well, the quote, Man in the High Castle. And apparently I died to a girl in that. I don't know. If you just said Joseph in his Technicolor Dreamcoat, I'd have understood it, but Now at this point, I'm saying to Jane Prawn, I don't care what you do with this tiger, just bomb the shit out of him. Jane Prawn drops special delivery 1,000 pound bombs, and job done. Thank you, Jane Prawn. Now once again, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, because I can. Now the reason why I wasn't going to push out all that much is because I wasn't very confident in my tank, or the hull armour. At this point, Jane Prawn tells me that there's an Oswind. Well, when I say was, he did just eat a 120, so technically we're an ace in our first game at T-34. I nearly said T-30 then. And to tell the truth, people, I absolutely love the gun. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to start driving this tank a bit more. Now we are going to skip ahead a bit more because, well, and there you go. I have not watched Man in the High Castle. He then starts pointing out obvious things. I know I have 2 cars in my profile pic, mate. That was when I was going to get my sister's newest car. That's why it's the profile pic. I've been meaning to change it for some time now. And I do apologise, I did slightly skip that a bit. That was a Hetzer. Don't know why you bring a Hetzer to a 6.7 game, but that's his choice. The Tiger, realising a 120 has just gone off right next to him. I give him a bit of full American treatment. He lifts his puny gun up, but he can't even fire it in time. 120 straight for the front, 6th kill. But sadly, that is going to be my last kill. And once again, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit more. Because, unfortunately, people, we're going to lose this game. There's your top speed of 21 miles an hour, but sadly, it wasn't good enough. But anyway, what did I think of the T-30? Well, or T-34 I should say. I love the gun on this thing. There's no other word for it. I love the gun. Like it's powerful. I love big guns on tanks, and this tank especially gets my approval. Yeah, it's not the best in terms of hull armor. Yeah, it's not the best in terms of turret armor, and yeah, it's not the best in terms of overall reload. But when this gun penetrates a target, it does some significant damage. The AP buff has really helped this tank out. Obviously, the AP buff's been in since the French were added. But I like the fact that they put the T-34 in the main tree for everyone to experience. However, it's a bit... I think this is actually one of the better variants. I'd consider the T-29 to be the best, with this coming in second, and the T-30 coming in last. Obviously, I don't own the T-30, so I cannot say. I don't even own the T-29. However, just by judging by combat performance, I would rather be sat in the T-29. But I've only got access to this, and I'm well happy with it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's first impressions on this thing and first battle. Next video will be the 76 Jumbo Spade impressions. She's done, people. She's coming. Anyway, I will catch you all on the next one.